Hey everyone, welcome to the show Trip of Design, a show where we are going all around the world on different continents in different countries and discussing with designers their trip of design, how they get inspired, what is their process and so on. I'm very excited to present to you this episode. I am Suyog, also known as the Fun Indian Guy. I'm a service designer, musician and a filmmaker, and in this video we are going from New York to London to Oslo to discuss some of the very innovative projects done in the circular economy domain by the winners of Cumulus Green competition. So it's going to be very exciting to see all these projects, but before we go and see these projects, let's take a look at what is the Cumulus Green competition and what is the role of designers in the circular economy. So let's go and begin the Trip of Design, the remote edition. Could you tell us what is the Cumulus Association?
Cumulus is the global association of art, design, and media universities and colleges. We bring together 340 members from all 5 continents around the world. And we work as a very dynamic network and forum for global engagement and partnerships, as well as a platform to advocate for the role of art and design in making the world a better place.
And could you explain what is the Cumulus Green competition?
Cumulus Green is part of one of those cornerstone initiatives. It is an international student competition that we relaunched last year with the theme for a new circular economy. So Cumulus Green aligned with United Nations Sustainable Goals, specifically with SDG 12, responsible consumption and production, and challenged the students in our member institutions to design products, service, and systems that might advance circular economy aims. We had 683 submissions from around the world, 3 incredible winners, and 50 honorable entries. This work was really possible through the work of our secretariat, our executive board, and important partners, among them Be Open, a Cumulus partner that matched the awards that we gave to the 3 winners, and is also identified special prizes for 2 projects among our honorable entries. We had the partnership of Jovoto that allowed us to have an incredible platform to feature all projects. And of course, the partnership of the Ellen MacArthur Foundation through one of our jurors and through the resources that they allowed our students to access when they were researching the brief of this competition.
Now let's try to understand why designers matter in the future of circular economy.
Well, designers play a really important role in the circular economy. First of all, because everything around us has been designed, whether it's a product that you might see in your room, or a service that you use on a daily level, or even mobility and food systems that we can see around us. All of these things have been designed, and in the design stage we make important choices about the materials that we use, the way we assemble these materials, so if they are glued or if they're screwed, the business models that surround these designs, and all of this determines whether something is going to be fit for a circular model where the materials can go back into another application, or whether unfortunately the design ends up in a landfill or in an incinerator. So that's what like I find personally really interesting about design, the possibility to understand the broader systems around what we create and how the journey of that looks like, so where it goes and how it can become another thing afterwards. And designers are absolutely key for this in the circular economy vision.
And what do you look for in the fresh talent who is embarking on the journey of problem solving?
So what we have seen in the recent Cumulus design challenge is that a few things that are really helpful are, well, first of all, systems mapping and understanding how the system looks like and where the intervention point is, and what kind of collaborations you need with other stakeholders to create a new solution that addresses the need the user need in an innovative way. And that also implies that it's very important to prototype, not just with the one end user in a narrow way, but actually to prototype and test and collaborate with multiple stakeholders across the system or the value chain. Because then we can make sure that whatever we create and all the materials involved, they will find another application and they are circulated back. So yeah, prototyping with the system, well, systems mapping in the first place, collaboration across disciplines to come up with new perspectives on a challenge. I think those are really important. And ultimately, of course, one really important skill is to be able to dive deeper into what the true need is that we try to address. So how do we design deeper, and how do we address not just like the need through one more physical thing or product, but actually through a true systemic solution.
And now it's time to see the projects done by the winners of the competitions. We will look at the projects and also try to understand the inspiration behind it.
My solution is called Philoskin, and it's a speculative project that proposes a kind of treat made of a particular microalga. This microalga is called Hematococcus pluvialis, and inside this microfiber is able to produce oxygen, filter CO2 from the air, and it responds in the environment by taking different color. What we can imagine is a kind of membranes, fabric, textile that it can interact with our body and is completely in symbiosis with our organism. I think my first inspiration, it was like 3 years ago, where I thought to produce a kind of biomaterial that it was able to change color depending on different seasons.
Our project Bloom is a network of bioreactors that are incorporated in the home in a less invasive way and used to grow algae.
Algae has all sorts of uses, like biofuel and bioplastics. Algae can be easily grown in a correct environment, which our project Bloom supplies.
For this project, we really wanted to bring accessibility to the fuel industry by allowing people to grow their own algae and produce their own biofuels and bioplastics at home instead of relying on a bigger manufacturing industry.
Our project is called DIP, and we have been exploring how we can use seaweed as a bioplastic in the future. We have been continuously working with the bigger picture, where we've been zooming in and out to understand the smaller pieces of the big picture of how the seaweed industry is today.
We've also been looking to the future and also how the seaweed industry can develop towards 2050 and how that can be upscaled in a sustainable way. And having these two mindsets at the same time, so both looking at the strategy and also doing material explorations and more tangible experiments, has been very valuable throughout the whole project. So one of the main sources of inspiration for this project has been seaweed in itself. This is a resource that we have a huge amount of in Norway. We have one of the longest shores or coasts in the world, and how this resource can be used in new ways in the future has been a great inspiration for us.
And also how nature can inspire us to see new solutions to one of the biggest problems we see today, which is overconsumption of plastic and packaging. And we have been exploring and continuously been inspired by how seaweed actually can be a direct part of this solution.
What part of this design process did you like the most?
I think I have very different favorite part during all my projects, because I think there was very exciting moment in all part of my project, starting from the research to observing microfiber under microscope, for example. But I think my favorite part, and I think is the most important part of the project, it was when I had to translate the scientific and technical material discovery in more narrative and speculative communication.
Our favorite part of the project was watching it come to life after all the hard work we put in. We filled up all the channels with algae, and we used silicone to patch all the leaks, and once the sun shined through the window, you could see the algae growing in our homemade bioreactor.
And it was really cool to see this idea that we had in our head come to life, and the thought that how we imagined a world where people could produce their own biofuel was a little closer to becoming reality.
One of our favorite phases of the design process has been the research phase. So that's of course a continuous phase, but it's also the beginning when you start understanding the possibilities and barriers and seeing the connections. And by talking to experts and researchers, we have gotten a deeper understanding of seaweed, and it's been really engaging and really inspiring.
And also, as we kind of understood the big picture of it, we dove into the material in itself and did our own material explorations to really understand what the possibilities of this material was. And then we brought it to experts and different actors to get feedback, trigger questions, and kind of understand how they saw the potential of this as a future plastic.
And how do you see your role as designers in this world?
This is why I think the translation part, the speculative part in Philoskin is the most important point during all the process of the project. Because of course, as a designer we have to find a solution, sustainable solution for product design and material design. But at the same time we have to communicate what is really relevant today, and the people have to start to reflect on this item and think what is very important for our environment today.
As designers, we find that it's important to answer the big questions of the world through creative solutions that we come up with. These solutions allow us and other people to think about these problems in new ways and see potential new realities.
With a design like Bloom in your home, you're constantly reminded of alternative biofuels and different ways to tackle climate change and do your own part in this bigger picture of the world. I hope as designers we can create more solutions like that and impact much greater communities than just the homes our designs go into.
It's a big question, but I think we both agree that as designers, it's very important to dive into new topics and field with an open mind, to be able to see things in a new way, to then be able to ask new questions and challenge the way we do things today, and together find new ideas and inspire for change.
We also think that one of the key roles as a designer is to bring the different stakeholders together and to facilitate co-creation. And we hope that our contribution can be a small step in the right direction for a more sustainable future.
After witnessing this amazing, awesome projects, let's try to understand why such competitions are important.
And they're important for 3 reasons. The first one is that they allow us to spot new talent, the creativity of the next generation of leaders. The second one is that they often bring to the surface important issues, societal issues that we should really be aware of. And they do so by allowing us to dream big with bold ideas and concepts that may be feasible and viable, but that may also simply provoke a new way of thinking, a new way of making and doing. And thirdly, international student competitions are essential because they do give a limelight to the next generation of leaders. And I'm convinced the 3 winners, the 50 projects that were also recognized in the honorable entries of Cumulus Green, all reveal the talent and the creativity of this next generation. It's been really fantastic to watch this process unfold. Thank you.